I get paid every single day I finish my to-do list, not by some client or boss. I built an automated system which will pay me for being productive. And today I'm going to show you how you can build this system for yourself. Here is the final product of it working. This is what we're going to build. I'm going to break it down step by step. We're going to do this with absolutely no coding, and there are 4 main things we need. First, we need some way to automate this. Second, we need a to-do list app. Third, we need some kind of payments processor, a way to transfer funds. And finally, we need some kind of notification so we can get notified on our mobile. So let's jump into it. We're going to start with our automation software, which for this, we are using n8n. This is a very powerful, free, open source tool, which you can also run locally. You can create automations by just dragging and dropping things in. You don't have to code, so that's why we're going to use this. If you head over to Google and search for n8n, we're going to scroll down to the GitHub page. This is the repository that we want. If you scroll down a bit to the README, there are instructions on how to install this. So we're going to follow the quick start guide. Personally, I like Docker, so I'm going to follow these commands. Now, if you don't have Docker installed, quickly head over to docker.com. Download that piece of software and come back to this GitHub page. We're going to open up a terminal window and we're going to run these 2 commands. First, we're going to create a persistent volume, which will keep all of our data. This means if we ever stop or restart our container, we keep all of our information. If we didn't set this persistent volume, we would lose everything after a reboot. And next, we're going to run the container. I'm going to go ahead and paste that command in. This is going to start the software up and it's going to give us a URL that we can access it. If we go ahead and copy this and paste it into our browser, DuckDuckGo doesn't like it, so I'm just going to switch to another browser. So we'll paste that in there. You should see a screen similar to this. Now, the very first time you do this, it'll actually ask you to create an account instead of signing in. Go ahead and create that account. Keep in mind, this is all running locally on your machine, so the account you create is actually a local account for you. I'm just going to quickly log in. Once you've logged in, you should see a screen similar to this or this. Whatever the default screen is, we're going to head over to Overview. And we're going to click this Create Workflow button. A workflow is essentially just an automation that we want to create, and we have a blank canvas where we can get started with whatever we want to do. First thing I'm going to do is rename it. So instead of my workflow, I'm going to say to-do list automation. And we're going to add our first step. If you click the plus button here, you have a lot that we can do. For now, as we are testing things out, I'm going to have a manual trigger. So that means when I click something, we're going to execute something else. When I click test workflow, we want to do something. The first step we need to do is grab the list of items that we have in our to-do list. If we go ahead and click this plus button, there are a ton of options that we can choose from. We're going to go Action in App, and we're going to search for our to-do list app. Now, there's actually quite a few you can choose from. For this tutorial, we are going to use this particular application called Todoist. It's just a great all-around to-do list application. I think it's one of the best, and it's completely free and works really well. We're going to go ahead and click it, and we're going to get many tasks. The first thing we need to do is create a set of credentials that will let us authenticate into this application. And to do this, we're going to use what they call an API key. Head over to their website. I'll put the link in the description down below to make life easy for you. They also have an Android and iOS app as well that you can download directly onto your mobile phone. There's also single sign-on, which makes life easy. So go ahead, create an account and log in. Once you're logged in, you should see a screen similar to this. We're going to go ahead and click on your name, head over to Settings, and in the search here, we want to type API, hit Enter, and we want to copy this API token. Head back over to n8n, click Create New Credential, and paste your API key in there. Once you've done that, select it from the list, and there are a few settings that we're going to change. This particular step is going to return every single item in our to-do list. The first thing we want to do is reduce this limit from 50 down to 5. We don't particularly care about the entire list, we just want to see if we have any tasks for that particular day. Next, we want to head over to this Settings tab at the top here. And we want to enable this toggle, Always Output Data. This is important because if you don't have any to-do list items assigned for the day, this is just going to stop the execution and it won't continue on the chain later on. This will always output some kind of data, which lets our automation continue. Super important, make sure you have it ticked. Now, to make sure it's working, we can actually go ahead and click this button at the top. So we're going to test the step out. And it's executed. Right now, I have 3 items in my list, which is represented by the 3 items outputted here. I'm going to go ahead and tick them all off my list so that it's completely empty. We're going to go ahead and test the step again, and we should get a blank response. That's looking good. You'll notice there's no save or like X icon, so we can just simply hit escape to exit out of that. The next step we're going to do is set up the push notification to our phone. Again, there's another piece of free open source software we can use called NFTY. Sorry, it's NTFY. This is the website we want. Available for both Android and iOS, which is awesome. Go ahead and download the app on your mobile phone. You'll be greeted with a blank screen like this. We're going to go ahead and hit the plus button. This app is based on the publish subscribe model. Our automation is going to publish to a URL, and our application is going to subscribe to that same URL to receive the notifications. When selecting the name for your topic, make it unique and hard to guess, because this is going to act kind of like a password. It's plain text, unauthenticated. Anyone with the same name can see all of the messages coming through. Now, this isn't such a huge concern because the types of messages that we're going to send are literally, congratulations, you ticked off all your tasks for the day, you've now been paid, or you failed miserably and you should feel bad. I'm going to type in a name, so I'm going to do YouTube demo 111. I'm going to select instant delivery in doze mode, just so if the app is asleep, we'll still get the notification. And if you are security conscious, you can go ahead and select use another server. Because this is open source, you can actually host this software on your own server, Raspberry Pi, PC. So then you don't have to worry about the security implications because everything is running locally. I'm not going to do that, but just note that is an option if you want to go down that road. We're going to go ahead and hit subscribe. Now we're going to head back over to n8n. We're going to hit the plus button, and this time we're going to do an if statement. So we'll search for if. What we want to do is check, is the response we get back from our to-do list empty? If it's empty, that essentially means that we've ticked off everything we needed to do for the day, and then we would obviously trigger the payment for us and get the notification. But if there is items in that, then we don't want to trigger the payment and we want to send that failure message. The way we do that is under conditions over here, we're going to change this to a Boolean value and we're going to say is true. And instead of true or false, we want to select expression. And in here, we're going to type in $JSON dot, and there is autocomplete, which makes life easy for us. And we're going to check, is it empty? All right, we're going to exit out of that. We're going to quickly give these some actual names that make sense. Click on the step you want to select and hit the spacebar. This will let us rename it. So we're going to say, is this empty? Then we're going to click on this step here and we're going to say get tasks. Okay, so we're going to get our tasks. We're going to see if it's empty. If it is empty, we are going to send a request. So we're going to type in HTTP request. It's going to be a post request For the URL, we're going to copy the exact same URL we have on our mobile phone. So we're going to type https YouTube 111. We're going to enable send body. We're going to change this from JSON to raw. And we're going to paste a nice message in here. So we're going to say daily reward complete. Cool. All right, we're going to exit out of that. So that's our happy path if we've finished everything. Now we're going to do the sad path. What happens if we fail? If we click on our request, we can copy it. So we'll go Control C or Command C. And then we're going to paste it down below. And you can literally drag and drop these like so. Double click to go into it. And instead of being happy, we're going to say we failed. Daily reward failed. You didn't complete all tasks. We'll exit out of that. Now we're going to test this out. When you are testing things out, there's this executions tab at the top. This keeps record of every single execution and the result that you've done in the past. It also shows how long it took to execute. You can click in. If you double click, you can see the output, the response. Really good for troubleshooting and whatnot. We'll head back to the editor. If you want to test each individual step, you can hover over and click the play button. Now I did get an error. I did a slight typo, so I'm going to go back into that. I've got 3 T's instead of 2. So we'll save that, make the same change down here. So we're going to run that notification. Check our mobile phone. We can see that happy notification has just popped through. Now we're going to test the entire thing from end to end. We can do that by clicking this button down below. Currently my to-do list is empty, so we're expecting for the happy path to continue. We're going to go ahead and click test workflow. You can see it executing and I've now received that notification. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a task. So I'm just going to put an item in there. Now we have one item. We should see this flip down to the sad path. Let's test it out. And there you go. We've got our sad path with our sad error message. This is really cool and powerful stuff. We've got the trigger working, our to-do list app working, the notification working. It's time for the final step. Let's get paid. When it comes to getting paid, there are a couple of different options, and this was actually the trickiest part of this entire setup. Unfortunately, in Australia, a lot of our banks are behind the times. We have something called open banking, which allows you to access your information through APIs. However, all of the major banks currently only let you do read operations. That means you can grab your transactions, but you can't actually initiate transfers. One of the banks I use is Up Bank. They're a digital bank who also have an API, but unfortunately, they don't allow you to send payments or make internal transfers, which is what we really need. If you happen to live in Australia, you're watching this and you bank with them, there are 2 open feature requests on GitHub. Let them know that you want this feature, both in issue number 16 and 132. It's been 3 or 4 years already. Maybe we'll get it sometime in the future. But in absence of that, we're going to use a new application called Wise. I went with this option because it has direct integration into n8n, which makes things easy. So go ahead, download the app on your phone. Once you have it installed, you are going to have to create an account, verify your identity, the typical know your customer kind of requirements. But once you're in, you should see a screen like this. The first thing we're going to do is set up a savings account. So if we head over to this tab here and select the plus button, we're going to open a jar. Now think of this kind of like a savings fund. And click on open a jar. Select your currency. Give it a name. I'm going to say reward. Hit confirm. Now we just have to add some money into our account. We can do this by clicking add money. Put in whatever value you feel comfortable. I'm just going to put $10 in to test things out and see if this is any good. Continue. Okay, I've got to verify my identity. I'm going to click my fingers and have the money magically in my account. Now we've got some money in our account. I'm not sure if there's a slight delay between verifying your account and being able to deposit money. I tried adding $10 using a debit card and it failed the transaction. Instead, I selected Pay with Google Pay and it went through instantly. So just be aware that might trip you up. Okay, let's get the payments working. This was really hard. I was up all night figuring it out, so I really hope you guys appreciate this. I do apologize if you hear some background noise. It's a new day and I just wanted to finish this off. We're gonna head into our Wise app, go ahead and log in. During my investigation for this, I realized you can't spend any money from a jar account. That is purely savings. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our normal transaction account. We're going to move all of our funds into our savings account. This is what it should look like. You've got all your money in your jar savings account. And when we go to pay ourselves, we're going to send it from the savings to our everyday transaction account. Reason this is important is the transaction account you can link to a card to actually buy things. So make sure you go ahead and do that important step. Next, we're going to head back over to n8n and there are a couple of new nodes that we have. I want you to go ahead and click the plus button on this happy path. We're going to search for Wise. And we want the get balances. In order to use this, we are going to have to set up those credentials. So go ahead, select the drop-down list, create a new credential, log into your Wise account through the web portal, click on your name in the top right-hand corner, scroll down to Integrations and Tools, API tokens, click the reveal key and copy your API key. Head back in to create that credential. You'll then have all the options populated in the dropdown, so you want to select Account as a resource type, Get Balances, and Personal. Go ahead and test the step and you should see some kind of JSON output. This is crucial because we need that profile ID to make future requests. Next, we're going to click another plus button and this time we're going to search for HTTP request. Unfortunately, the Wise integration into n8n doesn't support what we need, so we're going to have to do it the old school way, making direct API calls. But don't worry, I'm going to walk you through every step. Select Get as the method. For the URL, this is what we want. Now, I'm going to put a link to GitHub down below with the README with all of these URLs and detailed instructions so you know exactly where you are and you can just copy and paste. So you don't have to pause this video and manually type things out. One cool thing with the syntax, you'll notice this is highlighted in green. What we can actually do is, because we want the profile ID, we have access to the output from the previous step. So what you can do is you can literally drag and drop this anywhere into your requests and it'll output like so. Next, we want to select authentication, generic credential type, bearer authentication. Now, because this is a HTTP request and not a Wise integration, you are going to have to create that new credential with that same API again, like we did previously. We then have to set a couple of headers. So we're going to select authorization with the value bearer API token like this. And we're going to send a blank JSON body. Go ahead and test the app and you should see an output like this. This will give you a list of all of your accounts, their IDs and balances. Now we're up to the final step where we get to pay ourselves. Now I forgot I did add an extra node here to generate what they call a unique ID. This is really important because we need this randomly, uniquely generated item for whenever we make the next API call. Go ahead and add a new crypto node. From the drop-down list, we want to select Action Generate. give it this name with the type UUID. This is going to add a new value down here, which is a uniquely generated string. Now, finally, we're going to make that final API call to pay ourselves. Add a new HTTP request, but this time we're going to make it a post request. We're going to send it to this URL. Make sure your authentication type matches. And this was the tricky part. We're going to send these very specific headers. So authorization bearer API token, that unique ID. Because we've generated it, what we're going to do up here in the search bar, we're going to search for UUID. And we're just simply going to drag and drop that into the value. Scroll down a little bit more. So you need to set content type as application/JSON. And for the body, we're going to do body type JSON. Click on expression so you can have this free form. You need this exact format. Again, I'll put all this code in GitHub for you, linked down below. Now, for source and target balance ID, I haven't found a great way to not hard code this. In our previous responses, when we got those balances, what I noticed was the order would change. I think it returns in a certain order, so whichever account has greatest balance seemed to be on top, like first. So given the order changes, I've just opted to hard code it. Now, to get the actual IDs that you need, if you head back over to your input, open up this get balance ID, click on JSON. This is the field we're looking at here, this ID. It's also got the type with the emoji and the amount. So I know this is my saver that I want to pay from. So I'm going to set this as my source ID. And if I scroll down all the way down to the bottom, I can see there's another item in the list. And this is my other account. So that's going to be the target ID, where we're going to send the money. Also select the amount you want to pay yourself and the currency. For testing purposes, I'm just going to keep this at $1. Go ahead and click test step. You should see a successful output. And if we head over to our app, we can see we've now got money in that account. Let's test this out end to end to make sure we've got everything working. I'm going to open our to-do list and add something in. We have a task. I'm fully expecting it to go down the sad path. So let's go test workflow. We can see it thinking, and I've now got that sad notification. Okay, now let's do the happy path. We'll tick that off. Our to-do list is all complete. Test the workflow out. We've got our happy notification, and we've been paid. Now, for some reason, it was executing twice in a row in quick succession. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because I have this particular trigger, it does it twice in a row. We'll quickly fix this up. Instead of clicking a button, we just want it to execute. So I'm going to hit the plus button, search for add another trigger, and we're going to go on a schedule. So every day, trigger at, let's go 8:30. I'm generally in bed asleep at 9, so it'll be nice right before I go to bed to see if I've done well for the day. Every day at 8:30, add rule. We'll exit out of that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, replace it with our scheduled trigger, and we will test the workflow, and it should just execute once. If I head over to executions, good. It's only done it once, no double up. Refresh my app, and we're done. We've now got that workflow from end to end. I did notice a bug quickly. For some reason in the output, when we pay ourselves, it's executing it twice in a row. So instead of transferring $1, it's transferring $2 each execution. Not a huge deal, just something to be aware of. We've now got our automation working end to end. Whenever we complete our tasks for the day, we get paid and reward ourselves. One final thing I realized as I'm editing this video, make sure you go ahead and hit that big orange save button at the top. It doesn't appear to auto-save your workflows. Because I didn't hit save and I exited the workflow, I've now lost it and I have to recreate everything from scratch. So a handy tip, make sure you go ahead and save your work. Congratulations for making it all the way to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, I'll leave links to everything down below. You can just copy the code with all the instructions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.